A very good evening, viewer. You're most welcome to the NILEcast, only on West Nile Television, where we give you the daily news bulletins of the day every day from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. My name's Okumiringa Christine. Before we dive into any of the stories, let's first have a look at the news making headlines today. In the headlines tonight, Mahdi West Nile Diocese embarks on general cleaning exercise ahead of the annual Tree Sunday celebrations. Moyo youth leaders rally to mobilize youth for government programs. And Zombo District Post-Primary School Games commenced. This and more in the NILEcast News Bulletin. It's the 15th of March 2024. You're most welcome to the NILEcast on your West Nile Television. Now let us dive into some of the stories of the evening. Mahdi West Nile Diocese conducted a general cleaning exercise in the different archdeaconries as part of the Environmental Week activities that ran from the 10th to the 16th of March 2024 ahead of the Tree Sunday celebrations themed Trees My Livelihood set to take place on the 17th of March 2024. Mahdi West Nile Diocese is embarking on the activities of tree planting, cleaning up the environment, and sensitization on the importance of conservation of the environment. Take a look. The Bishop of Mahdi West Nile Diocese, Right Reverend Charles Collins Ndako, on the 15th of March 2024, flagged off the general cleaning demonstration exercise of the entire diocese at Enviradri Trading Center in Arua City as part of the activities of the Environmental Week, which ran from the 10th to the 16th of March, themed Trees My Livelihood, in preparation of the annual Tree Sunday celebration that is set to take place on the 17th of March in Alisoa Church of Uganda, Riki. Students, teachers from primary and secondary schools, community members and diocesan members joined the Bishop of Mahdi West Nile Diocese in the general cleaning exercise and other activities like tree planting, removal of polythene bags and bottles, and sensitization of communities on the need to conserve the environment. Right Reverend Charles Collins Ndako, the Bishop of Mahdi West Nile Diocese, stated that this general cleaning exercise is being conducted in the different archdeaconries in a bid to encourage the general public to clean their environment by removing any dirt that is hazardous to the environment.
Today is generally cleaning all over the diocese. What we are doing here is just a demonstration to say that every homestead should keep his home clean. Sweeping, taking all the rubbish, the bottles, the polythene bags, papers, and any dirt which is hazardous to environment, to remove it away. And tomorrow, of course, we'll continue sensitizing, but the climax is on Sunday, where every church, every chapel, every parish headquarters will talk about tree as my livelihood. This week and the Tree Sunday is what the Diocesan Synod resolved to have annually that we observe it. This is simply because the environment has been tampered with by man. So in order to address the challenges caused by this tampering of the environment, the diocese felt it necessary to teach and create awareness and join the government of Uganda to bring about the environment to its real sense.
Dr. Jacob Avanduka, a retired senior lecturer of the National Teachers College, Muni, and participant in the general cleaning exercise, advised the general public to ensure proper disposal of polythene bags, as failure to do so causes the soil to lose its natural texture, thus making the environment hazardous.
Protect the environment from others which have been thrown anyhow, which don't rot, and this alone is a hazard to the environment. And yet we need more soil to be fertile, and if we throw more others down, the soil will be polluted and it will be affected. It will not help us in our plantings. and therefore it is encouraging us not to throw cameras anyhow, and to use them very carefully and put them in bags which are put in places, and that alone will improve our environment for plant growing, food crops growing, and will improve our health, because the more greens you eat and vegetables, the better. The environment, if you keep it clean, that means you are going to feed in a better way. It's not the meat that has to be actually decreased. We eat the roots and we eat the fruits. We eat even the hazards, some of them. But what is important is we need to protect the environment and we need to protect the soil. We need to make sure that our soil is fertile and it is getting good manure. And with the capital, you can't get manure at all. Yeah, but it's very important that we participate in this program.
Nyamutoro Fiona, a student of Umvara Secondary School, thanked the Mahdi West Nile Diocese for the general cleaning exercise and tree planting initiative, stating that trees are important in maintaining the environment's ecosystem.
Why I've chosen to be part of this cleanliness is that it's environment, it's our surrounding, and things that surround us, we need to keep it well and clean, like the polythene bags, the bottles, and all other polythenes, they litter our environment. So it's our responsibility, you and I, to keep our environment clean by picking away the polythenes, planting more trees. You know that trees provide us with the very many importances, and for us to keep them, like for generation that is coming on, to also find it still going on, we have to plant more trees.
This general cleaning exercise is one of the activities that took place in the different archdeaconries under the Environmental Week and will be climaxed with the annual Tree Sunday celebration set to take place on the 17th of March 2024. Okumaringa Christine, for West Nile Television, Nilecast. And more in our stories. During the training of the youth leaders on parish development model new guidelines at Moyo People's Hall in Moyo District, the youth leaders have been encouraged to engage in massive mobilization of youth so as to take part in government programs. Okumu Dominic reports.
The meeting brought in a handful of youth leaders in Moyo District to be enlightened on the new guidelines of the government program, especially Parish Development Model and the Youth Livelihood Program. Mr. Gabiko Emmanuel Vuzi, the Community Development Officer Oche Sub-County and also the facilitator for the training, encouraged the youth leaders to engage in massive mobilization of the youth so as to take part in the government programs, especially the Parish Development Model, and advised the youth to put the money they receive from the program into meaningful projects and avoid misusing the money for other unwanted items so as to help enhance their capacities.
But we are trying to keep track of that because we are trying to compile data of epidemics so that it gives us accurate data of how many have benefited. But we encourage the youth leaders to do massive mobilization for our young people to take part in this government program, which is PDM. And my advice to them is once they receive these funds, they should put it in productive activities.
Mr. Duliga Richard, the Monitoring and Evaluation Officer Global M, who doubles as the focal point person for the program strengthening youth participation in decision-making, said the training is intended to enlighten the youth leaders on the new guidelines released by the government on the Parish Development Model so as to build the capacity of the youth in decision-making in the district.
Giving training to the youth leaders, selected youth delegates on PDM, and other youth-focused development programs like the YLP. But today we focused majorly on PDM because oftentimes we hear and are aware that the government keeps on updating the guidelines.
Honorable Palanda Peter, the youth chairperson Aluru Sub-County, urged the youth in the district to know that the Parish Development Model money is not free money, but it is the money put aside by the government to build the capacity of the youth in different business opportunities. He, however, queried the criteria used for selecting the groups to benefit from the program, saying this has left many of the youth in the communities not to benefit from the program.
I want to urge the youth outside there to understand that this is not a free money. This is a development program which government designed to benefit the youth, specifically just to help you come up with a business and enterprise, agriculture, and so many others which will change something for your future.
Honorable Munduyo Patricia, the female youth councillor Aluru Sub-County, said as a youth leader, she learned a lot from the new Paris Development Model guidelines, and she feels this will enable her to share the information with the rest of the youth in her community, adding that the money can be from the government, yes, but it is intended to elevate the youth from poverty.
As being a PDC in my community, today I've learned a lot about the new guideline, which has been updated. I am able, when I go back, so that I can talk to my youth about the new guidelines, so that they will not fail again, so that they will not find any other problems while going through the problems they have been facing before.
Global M, a non-governmental organization operating in Moyo and Obongi districts, is currently running a 10-month program called the Strengthening Youth Participation in Decision-Making Processes in Moyo and Obongi districts. The program, which started in August last year, is expected to end in May this year and is aimed at building the capacity of the youth on different developmental ideas so as to empower them for the different tasks ahead of them in the future. I'm Dominic Antonio Kumu for West Nile TV, Nilecast.
And more in our stories, the former Chief Justice of Uganda, Bat Muganda Katurebe, cautioned the students and academia to use their research work to transform the local community in northern Uganda. Justice Katurebe, who was officiating the 15th graduation ceremony of Uganda Management Institute in Gulu, says this will be the only way that this big academic house will greatly participate in the recovery.
The ultimate goal of education is happiness, or a good life, a life enriched by the possessions of every kind of good, by the enjoyment of every type of satisfaction. This is the reason why students of Uganda Management Institute is dancing while shouting at the top of their voice during their 15th graduation day in Gulu campus. The former Chief Justice of Uganda, Bat Mugunda Katurebe, who is also the Chancellor of UMI, implored graduates to use their research work to support the recovery of northern Uganda from LRA war.
I urge both the academia here at UMI and you, their graduates, to go and convert the knowledge here so richly gained into service to your various communities. What is the value of a well-written paper, research or thesis, when it hardly changes the way we dispose of garbage, the way we preserve our food, or giving society a weave around their insatiable energy needs?
While addressing students during the 15th graduation ceremony at Uganda Management Institute campus in Gulu today, Justice Katurebe urged students to go back and fight climate change as they sustainably use the natural resource around them. Dr. James Nkata.
It is important for you, dear graduates, to actively envision the catastrophe of a future totally deforested. We can do something about it. I note as well that the world is slowly but surely being hit by freshwater scarcity. Uganda is gifted by various freshwater resources. We need to jealously guard and protect these resources.
Director General, Uganda Management Institute, says these students have been fully informed about the rapid digital transformation currently coming to invade the job market and urges them to also move along with this transformation.
I implore the graduates here before you to have a look at their soft skills and demonstrate their relevance in a new emerging work environment where technology is slowly narrowing the space for human employability. It's very important to know and be able to do, but it's also paramount to be able to say what you know.
Today, UMI is sending 314 graduates in the limited job market in Uganda, and out of these, 275 are postgraduate diploma and 39 master degree. Stephen Okedo for West Nile Television, Nilecast.
Very good evening, viewers. You are most welcome for today's edition of Nilecast Sports News. My name is Oraku Benson Pastor. I can confirm to you most of the schools within the districts we have in the region of West Nile, they have already kick-started with the end-of-school ball games. Arua City kick-started today, and students have been cautioned against hooliganism cases and violence from the beginning of these games until they come to its climax. Faris Majid has the story. As the post-primary school games for Arua City officially commenced today on the 15th of March 2024, security leaders from Arua City have called upon the students to desist from tendencies of hooliganism and violence. The games that officially commenced today with the group stages at various destinations will run for a period of 1 week. Honorable Shino Rashid, the Secretary for Social Services, Arua Central Division, warns students against violent acts as he appeals security agencies to beef up the operations within the period.
In these games, I'm expecting very many things, but I'm not expecting the usual violence. My message to the players, to the school management, to all the stakeholders is that let us ensure that there is maximum security in these games here. We don't want to go into violence. Students fight amongst them in between themselves, and at the end they are being chased away from school, which may affect their performance at the end.
Similarly, Chanda Ronald, who is the Arua City sports officer, cautioned students against hooliganism, saying whoever will be caught involved in the practice faces being arrested.
This issue of hooliganism, this time we must desist from it. Let's leave the issue of drugs. Let's play our games, enjoy our games. These games are designed to develop a child holistically, not to create enmity. Recently in Arua City here, students have been using this opportunity, this period, for doing some bad behaviors. This time around, we are going to move around. If we see you doing or misbehaving, we shall just get you, you go under the bus.
Chande also went ahead to ask the teachers to work together so as to stop the tendencies of students indulging in the bad acts.
My appeal is that let's end these games successfully and peacefully. To games teachers and teachers, teachers don't leave games teachers alone. You know, the number of students in each school is big. Therefore, if we say this is only for games and sports teachers, these teachers will not manage. Can we rally behind these teachers to make sure that we work as a team to ensure the discipline of these learners?
However, Charles Ichogor, the Arua Resident City Commission, who also doubles as the head of security, has directed all school heads to identify and discipline students such that they can face the law.
I've directed the head teachers and teachers of various secondary schools and institutions to put their eyes and ears on the ground and identify these unruly children, very unruly children, who want to vandalize items in various institutions, as it occurred last year. It must be history. I've directed the head teachers to identify them, capture them, and they should be detained in the courts of law, in prison.
To ensure a peaceful sports period, the security leadership of Arua City, led by Senior Superintendent of Police Josephine Anguchia, moved to a number of schools, for instance, Arua Public Secondary School, Mbara Senior Secondary School, and St. George's College Ombachi, among others, to talk to the students to desist from tendencies of hooliganism and violence within the sports period. Farish Majid, West Nile TV, Nalka Sports.
Also related to that, Zombo district, a district from Greater Aluri zone, has also kick-started with the inter-school ball games, and these games, they are taking place at Luala Primary School and also at the stadium of War Leopards. Jawok reports.
The post-primary school games started today in Zombo district, where 12 schools, both government, aided and private schools, are participating in their first games at Luala Primary School playground and War Leopard Stadium respectively, in a hotly contested game between Paida SS and Atiaksit Secondary School. At War Leopard Stadium this afternoon, Paida SS managed to beat Atiaksit Secondary School by 4-0 during their first match of the post-primary school games, which kicked off today. During the game at War Leopard Stadium, 4 goals in the second half gave Paideses a hope to retain their position as the defending champion of the competition after winning the 2023 edition. Herbert Moshan, the captain Paideses, said his players prepared for the game. He is optimistic that with the results of the game, his school will progress to the final.
Actually, first we have to thank God for the wonders. Very tight game, in fact, in the first half of that challenge and we missed several goals. Let's come out of that. We realized that we are perfect. Then we came up with another promotion second. We managed to score 4 points. In fact, it was a wonderful game. So we have to
Meanwhile, Koi Alex, an officer working in the DO's office Zombo district, asked both players and fans to exhibit discipline in the games. Koi revealed that the games started without any cases of indiscipline.
Very well, both netball and football. At the particular time now, we are seeing Mataya playing with Aduka, the host, and the game is going on well. My appeal to everybody is that we must play a good game. The association must be very good. Professionalism should be seen. And from the players who want them to play the real football, while I call upon all the fans to exhibit discipline which has been shown to them in their schools, even right here, we need to see discipline. We don't want violence, we don't want rioting. This is a game that people must really appreciate. Otherwise, we are thankful.
The post-primary school games for Zombo district began today, 15 March 2024, with over 12 schools, both government-aided and private schools, participating in the competition. Alfred Jawok, West Nile TV, Nilecast.
Leaving the stories about ongoing inter-school ball games in the region of West Nile, this time jet into Europe, it's all about the draws of the UEFA Champions League that has been released today in Nyon, one of the cities in Switzerland. And Bayern Munich, again, they have been drawn against Arsenal. Arsenal, after eliminating Porto of Portugal, they have been given a role to play against the team of Bavarians in the quarterfinals. And the Atletico Madrid, after going past the Inter Milan in the round of 16, of course, they will take on German outfit, a team called Borussia Dortmund that knocked out a team from that division called PSV Eindhoven. And for the principality, the princess-based club Paris Saint-Germain, they have been given a task to take on Barcelona that knocked out Napoli in the round of 16. And lastly, the record holders, I am talking about the Los Blancos, know that I am talking about Real Madrid. They have been pitted against the team of Manchester City, the defending champions. Meanwhile, in UEFA Europa League, the draws are also out, and also the quarter-final draws. Liverpool, they have been given a task up against Atalanta that comes from Italy. Meanwhile, for Olympique de Marseille of France, they have been given an opponent called Soccer Lisboa Benfica that knocked out Rangers yesterday night. And of course, AC Milan will take on AS Roma, the two German outfits. They will be clashing between themselves. And lastly, the unbeaten club we have in German Bundesliga called Bayer Leverkusen. Yesterday night, we saw them knocking out Karabakh, and this time they are taking on West Ham. Consecutively, West Ham has been given teams from German Bundesliga. In the round of 16, we saw them going past Freiburg, and this time they have been rewarded with a game up against Bayer Leverkusen. And lastly, the draws, the quarterfinal draws in UEFA Europa Conference League. For Victoria Plzen, that comes from Czech, they have been given a task this time against a team from Italian Serie A called Fiorentina. Fiorentina knocked out Maccabi Haifa of Israel. Meanwhile, for Club Brugge of Belgium, that knocked out Molde, that comes from Norway. This time they will take on PAOK Thessalonica, that comes from Greece Super League. Meanwhile, for Lille, that comes from French Ligue 1, they have been given an opponent called Aston Villa. Aston Villa yesterday night knocked out Ajax Amsterdam. And lastly, the draw is between Olympiacos de Peru, that comes from Greece Super League. They have been drawn against Fenerbahce, that comes from Turkey Super League. With that, we have come to the end of today's edition of NILE Sports News. In front of the camera has been me, Benson Pastore. Let's link up again tomorrow with the same program of NILE Sports News.
Thank you, Rocco Benson Pastore, for that sports news and that sports highlight. And that, viewer, marks the end of the Nilecast only on West Nile Television. Thank you always, viewers, for taking the time to be with us from the beginning of the Nilecast to the end of the Nilecast only on West Nile Television. Please stay tuned to the rest of the subsequent programs.